Freak show is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental, what we're going to watch here.
Size different because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terrence Bud Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out.
The Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis press conference erupted in chaos when Floyd Mayweather unexpectedly stormed the stage, warning Jake directly. What was meant to be a media event quickly turned into a verbal battlefield, with both camps throwing heated words and drawing clear battle lines. The tension in the room reflected the intensity surrounding this highly anticipated clash, one that has already crossed from sport into spectacle.
Just showing up. Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna knock him out. You know, he has a lot of flaws in his defense, and I'm gonna expose him. You know, look what a 135 Lamont Roach did to him, and it's just gonna be so much fun for me. I'm so glad that God gave me this moment. I'm Gervonta and Tank Davis.
Critics have been quick to call Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis a circus act rather than a legitimate fight. Yet, not everyone agrees. MMA journalist Ariel Helwani defended the matchup, pointing out the hypocrisy in how fans embrace experimental crossovers in MMA but condemn them in boxing. To him, this fight still holds entertainment value, even if it strays from traditional boxing ideals. It's a reflection of how the sport must sometimes adapt to a changing audience hungry for novelty.
Generally, I'm sure it'll be a little bit closer, maybe 200 to 150, how much bigger can Tank get? Why would that be somewhat celebrated in MMA, but in boxing it isn't? Do you know what I mean, Pizzi? In MMA, yeah, like we sort of love the freak shows, but in boxing they don't. Why do you think that is? What does that say about us in MMA?
Well, we're a sick bunch of fucks, there's no doubt about that, but I will say...
You agree, right, or no?
Yeah, like, the idea of the MMA freak show is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental, what we're going to watch here. I think where people get annoyed with Jake is like, you know, he even got me. You know what I mean? This guy is the greatest outrage farmer of all time. I saw his tweet and I was like, reading it, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, this is exactly what he fucking wants me to do. You know, like this is, every time I'm doing this, he's in the game of getting eyeballs and this is ridiculous. As long as, like, you know, why do I like an MMA freak show? Why would I watch Eddie Hall in an MMA fight against Dylan Dennis? I'd be like, this is fucking ridiculous and I have to watch it. That's the way I feel about Jake Paul and Davis. I will watch it. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's all of us getting together to go to the circus for the evening. I think the reason why there's pushback against it when Jake does it is because Jake, and obviously tactfully, is going like, what are you talking about? This guy's a world champion. I took out Mike Tyson. He's a world champion. And then I'm going to take out Canelo and stuff like this. Like, he's winding us up. He's not agreeing to the stipulation that we're all agreeing on, which is this is a freak show. This is absolutely mental. As long as we can agree with that, we can all enjoy it collectively.
But do you not think he does agree to that? Do you not think he knows what this is?
No.
Floyd Mayweather later shared his own thoughts, stating that while Jake Paul and his brother have brought attention to boxing in their own way, Jake still hasn't faced anyone on Gervonta's level. He made it clear that Jake's journey has been impressive in its own right, but real boxing demands more than just showmanship. It requires mastery, heart, and experience, all of which Tank Davis embodies.
But, like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers. Logan as well as Jake, they know what they're doing, so they're doing what they...
The fight itself has sharply divided the boxing world. For many longtime fans, it feels like a mismatch, a step backward for Gervonta, who has built a career on destroying legitimate contenders. His followers argue that facing a YouTuber-turned-boxer undermines his legacy. This isn't just about Jake Paul's background, it's about what this kind of event represents to purists, a drift away from boxing's essence toward pure entertainment.
People think that Tank ain't gonna knock out Jake Paul. Like, bruh, I'm gonna tell you exactly how it's gonna go. Jake Paul will go in that ring thinking he has the upper hand, he has the reach, he has the weight, and he gonna go in there confident. Yeah, he might stun Tank a little bit, but I'm gonna tell you, he gonna underestimate Tank. That's exactly what's about to happen. He's gonna underestimate him and his size, and he gonna get crushed. I think this right here is what's gonna end Jake Paul's boxing career. I think that Jake Paul, when you sit here and think about it, the people he fought, I'm not saying they wasn't real fighters, but They just not no Tank Davis, buddy. I'm telling you, I don't think this is scripted. I think, yes, this is for money, but I think it's like, hey, at your own cost, go in that ring. Y'all know the weight difference. What's gonna happen is what's gonna happen at the end of the day. I think Tank really go, hey, drop him. He ain't gonna understand. Jake Paul ain't understand how, but he's about to see it. And on some real stuff, I think Tank setting Jake Paul up. So I remember when Jake Paul went up against Tyson, he said, you need to fight me. Like, I want to get in the ring with Jake Paul. He disrespected the boxing world by getting in the ring with Tyson and embarrassing him. And, you know, Tank really messed with Tyson. I think he setting him up, bro. Mark my words. I think he's like, yeah, come in the ring, but we're going to do a friendly, you know what I'm saying? You know, a match or whatever. We're going to get this money up. He about to embarrass him November 14th. Just because Jake Paul think the boxing world's sweet. He think it's sweet. He think they about to keep taking it easy on him with these fights. All right, I bet you. How much y'all want to bet? Tank is setting him up. He's gonna really do him so bad. Just to make an example.
The drama surrounding the fight deepened when Shakur Stevenson was criticized for sparring with Jake Paul. Many fans accused him of supporting a spectacle they already despise. But Shakur brushed off the backlash, saying he uses negativity as motivation. His calm response highlighted his professionalism, yet the entire situation showed how polarizing this event has become. Even fighters not directly involved are being dragged into the conversation, revealing how emotion-driven this debate truly is.
When Turkey was doing all that, like, I don't want no boring Tom and Jerry fights, he came out with a Tom and Jerry hat. And then he fought in a style that is not sustainable for him. And it's not, again, for me, it's not sustainable because fighting like that, if you do that with the wrong one, you'll lose. If you fight how you fight, okay, it's going to be harder to win. But you're putting your own self on the chopping block, trying to appease the crowd or not be Tom and Jerry. It's not sustainable. And even in the Zepeda fight, he got rocked back with a jab and fell into the ropes like that. So you could say I wasn't hurt and all that, but it's still a bad look. It's a bad look. People always talk about Tank, the knee, hair grease thing, but what about Shakur getting rocked into the ropes from a Zepeda jab? Even if you were off balance, you're supposed to be light years ahead of Zepeda skillfully. So to me, that still looks really bad. Like, I watched 50 fights from Floyd Mayweather, and he's fighting way better than Zepeda level. And Canelo and these guys, they're not punching him into the ropes and he's staggering back. The optics of it look bad. So back to it, Shakur, I feel like he's trying so hard to look unbothered, but he always replies to it so you could tell he's bothered. He's like, man, I got him so mad at me. And I personally, I don't prefer that when people do that. Like, for example, Shakur's like, man, I got him tuned in and thanks for the support. Bro, they're not really supporting you at all. All the comments underneath you saying whatever you said about, I get to pick Jake Paul's brain and work with him and all that, most of them were negative. So you're trying to, like, it's so weird because it reminds me of when I've seen people like celebrities or whatever who...
Boxing stars Devin Haney and Terrence Crawford also voiced their skepticism. They believe that while Gervonta's skills are elite, fighting a naturally bigger opponent like Jake Paul brings unnecessary risk. Jake's size and reach could create real danger, regardless of skill level. Both Haney and Crawford warned that such fights blur the line between sport and spectacle, turning boxing from competition into business.
Because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terrence Bud Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out with one punch. We've seen Shakur Stevenson's words say that this is a clown show, that this is a disgrace to boxing, that it's something that he doesn't want to be a part of, but then do everything he can to be a part of it by turning from 2-division, 3-division world champion, former unified champion, and turning himself from that into a damn sparring partner for Jake Paul. So people's words, people's actions are showing that they really, really deep down like this fight. And now you can add Devin the Dream Haney to the list of fighters And I just find it funny because here's the thing, I disagree with him. I am only interested in this fight because number one, I'm a diehard Gervonta Tank Davis fan, and number two, I don't really like Jake Paul at all. So I would like to see Tank Davis knock his block off. But as far as a competitive standpoint, as far as thinking it's a good fight, as far as loving the fight, nah, bro, I think it's a trash-ass fight. I think Tank Davis is way too good, way too skilled, way too talented to even allow Jake Paul to share the ring with him. That is my opinion. And so as a result, my pick of the fight or my overview and analysis of the fight is the same. If it's a real fight, if this is something that Tank Davis is taking serious, Jake Paul is going to get in that bitch and be...
Former world champion Keith Thurman, however, took a different stance. He believes the controversy only fuels interest. People complain about Tank but never miss his fights, he said. Thurman explained that Davis's magnetic presence keeps fans hooked, whether they love or hate him. In his eyes, all the criticism only strengthens Tank's brand. Every bit of drama ensures that the world will be watching come fight night.
With Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What's it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know, so fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So, you know, it's money-making purposes only, you know.
Throughout his career, Gervonta Davis has spoken about legacy, honor, and his commitment to true boxing. That's why many fans feel uneasy about his decision to fight Jake Paul. To them, it's a confusing move, one that doesn't match his previous dedication to facing real champions. But Davis appears unfazed. For him, this may not be about legacy, but rather business, control, or proving a personal point. He's not chasing approval, he's chasing his own goals.
Not the problem with boxing, Tank Davis is. Jake Paul's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's a Disney Channel kid, YouTube star, turned boxer. Of course, he's gonna make these stupid spectacle matchups. He doesn't care about his career, his legacy, or the sport. Meanwhile, we have Tank Davis, the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather and Adrian Broner, who has real talent. And if he was actually consistent in the ring and was willing to get in with some of the best fighters in the world, he could be top 3 pound for pound best fighters in the sport. But instead, Tank just wants to hold up his division for 5 years and make a mockery of the sport, especially with this fight. I know Tank Davis multiple times has said he only cares about the money and just wants to make $100 million and go retire off an island somewhere, but that's bad for the sport, especially coming from one of our sport's biggest superstars. Look at guys like Naoya Inoue, Alexander Usyk, Terrence Crawford. Those guys are real fighters, okay? They challenge themselves against the best fighters in the world. And money comes their way too from it. Don't get it twisted. What's crazy is Tank would make just as much money if he fought Shakur, Devin Haney, even Teofimo Lopez. The biggest tragedy of all is the fact that Lamont Roach isn't getting his rematch. He got robbed in that fight with a knockdown. He definitely would have won the split decision, and he would have got his Buster Douglas moment, but he didn't, and now he can't even get a rematch because Tank is going to do this, and now Lamont Roach has to fight Pitbull Cruz instead. I used to be such a big Tank Davis fan, but over the last year and a half that I've had this channel, the amount of BS that I've had to report on Tank Davis just like this completely turned me off as a fan of Tank Davis. Jake Paul can do his thing with the influencers, with the MMA fighters, but with boxers...
Analysts describe this fight as a hybrid, part sporting event, part show. such matchups have grown more frequent, merging the worlds of combat and entertainment. What makes this one different is that both Jake and Gervonta are active, competitive fighters, not retired icons or celebrities seeking relevance. It's a collision of two careers still in motion, a risk that could redefine how crossover boxing is viewed moving forward.
Fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. As Tank, well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has every...
Calvin Ford, Davis's lifelong trainer, insists the fight is entirely possible despite Jake's physical advantage. Having trained Tank since his teenage years, Ford knows how to prepare him for bigger opponents. He emphasized that Tank's timing, footwork, and ring IQ can neutralize size and power. Jake may have reach, but Davis's precision and speed can shift the fight's momentum instantly. Analysts agree that this matchup represents a battle between two styles, Jake's raw power versus Gervonta's refined skill. It's unpredictable, one man brings fame and brute force, the other brings elite technique and experience. Whether seen as a circus or a statement, it's undeniably one of the most talked about events in boxing. Fans are divided, experts are cautious, and promoters are thrilled. As the bell approaches, one thing is certain, the world will be watching not just for the punches, but for what this fight means to the future of the sport itself.
We got blessed with this fight. That's how I look at it, you know.
Interesting comment there that they were getting ready for the Roach rematch, and then this fight was, you know, he said they got blessed with this fight, but this fight came through. So the plan was actually to go and rematch Lamont Roach, which is something that I think he should have done. I think they you know, for Tank's legacy, for, you know, just the sanctity of pro boxing when it comes to a world champion and what they do with that world championship belt, I think he should have taken the Lamont Roach rematch. It seems like they were going to, but the obvious reason that everyone I think knows why they didn't is because Netflix and a Jake Paul fight come with a massive bag. Like, there's probably no comparison to what Tank will make to fight Lamont Roach or anybody else compared to Jake Paul. Whether you like that or not, it's the truth. He is a money fight, and so is Tank, and that's why they're going to do a shit ton of viewers on Netflix and why they're going to both make a shit ton of money. So the point I want to take away from that is that they were starting to get their minds and body ready for Lamont Roach, which means that Tank was in somewhat of a serious pre-camp, right? Somewhat of a serious, you know, workout regimen, getting himself in shape. Not that Tank is super out of shape out of camp, I don't know that. But this means that he was mentally preparing for a fight regardless. It's not hopping off the couch Tank, which is not what you want to see even against Jake Paul, because the least serious you take Jake, and I've said this about everybody that's fought him, ones that don't take him serious, the ones that say he's a YouTuber and everything else, they end up losing, or they end up looking like, oh, wait a second, this guy was a little better than I thought. They end up either getting taken by surprise or actually sometimes losing because they don't realize that Jake actually takes it serious. So this is good to hear. Just already right off the rip, they were already doing something.
Surprise. So tell me, you know, when did you hear about this?
Going back and forth for years. Tank and Jake, they've been going at it for years, and it would have happened sooner, you know what I'm saying, but we have hiccups in life. That's what I call it, hiccups, but they lessons to learn from. But we back on track and we're keeping it moving.
When you heard about the fight, were you like, wait, what? Like, we're doing what?
Actually, when I heard about the fight, they called me and said, "What you thought about the fight?" I said, "The fight doable." You know what I'm saying? Because I watched Tanky for years, and I watched other young men in gyms, you know, deal with big guys. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he's big. To me, it's like Jake having his first open fights. If anybody know about the amateurs going open, then you go pro. So, you know, he's a great fighter.
That's all for today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more updates, analysis, and reactions as the Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Davis saga continues to unfold.